Well, good evening, and thank you all for coming out today. This evening, it is fabulous to see such a great turnout, always. For those of you who do not know me, I am Greg Miller. I'm the superintendent here in Fleetwood Area School District. This evening, we're just taking a small pause, a brief break from the music to recognize our newest inductees into the Fleetwood Area School District Distinguished Alumni Group. The inductees are Fleetwood School District graduates that have distinguished themselves in the areas of outstanding service to our community, to our country, or others in need, or who have made outstanding contributions to their profession, career, or through philanthropic efforts. This evening we have 3 graduates that we will be inducting that have certainly met this criteria. Before we introduce our inductees, I'd like to recognize and thank the selection committee. This year's committee consisted of Elizabeth Becker, Chris Redding, Rose Kirschwig, Steve Herman, Mike Mayer, and myself. If you are interested in making a recommendation for someone for this honor, there's a spot on our website where individuals can be recommended for the committee to consider. The recommendations process is also included in the back of our Distinguished Alumni program that was at the door as you entered this evening. At this time, I'm going to introduce Mr. Steve Herman to introduce our first inductee.
Good evening. Our first inductee is inducted in the area of outstanding contributions to our country and profession. Dr. Bradley Dengler. Dr. Dengler is a graduate of the United States Military Academy at West Point in the class of 2005. He continues to serve on active duty as a lieutenant colonel at Walter Reed National Military Medical Center. He's a graduate of the F. Edward Herbert School of Medicine at Uniformed Services University of Health Sciences in Bethesda, Maryland, class of 2009. Served as the brigade surgeon for the 41st Fires Brigade, 1st Cavalry Division at Fort Hood, Texas. The military deployed twice in support of combat operations to Baghdad, Iraq. Served as the theater neurosurgeon in Iraq, Kuwait, and Syria in support of the Combined Joint Task Force Operation Inherent Resolve. Currently the only double board certified neurosurgeon and neurointensivist in the Department of Defense. Is selected and currently serving as a consultant to the Army Surgeon General for neurosurgery. Presently, the program director for the only Department of Defense Neurological Surgery Residency Program at Walter Reed National Military Medical Center, and oversees the training of residents in neurological surgery from the Army, Navy, and Air Force. Recognized at both the state and national level by being awarded the Samuel Hassenbusch Young Neurosurgeon Award by the Congress of Neurological Surgeons in 2018. He's an honored guest for the 2022 Texas Association of Neurological Surgeons meeting. He currently serves as the director of the Center for Neuroscience and Regenerative Medicine at the Uniformed Services University, where he oversees a $10 million research budget focusing on improving care for traumatic brain injury. He's a principal investigator in over $4 million in Department of Defense research grants studying objective measures to diagnose concussion. He's the primary authority in multiple peer-reviewed manuscripts on traumatic brain injury. And we would like to thank and recognize you for being here and congratulate you for the honor bestowed upon Dr. Dengler. At this time, I'd like to introduce Mr. Todd Dreisbach for introducing our next recipient.
It's an honor for me tonight to be inducting Sean Marshall into our Fleetwood Distinguished Alumni chapter. Sean was a graduate here from Fleetwood High School back in 2006. Wasn't quite sure how I wanted to start off and how I wanted to honor Sean here. Because Sean's not able to make it here tonight because he's currently living out his dream, working for NASA down in Puerto Rico at their Arecibo location. As an educator, I've been teaching for 20 years here at Fleetwood. There's always those couple kids every single year where you just know they're going to achieve their goal because the moment they walk into those high school doors in 9th grade, they just know what they want to do. Sean was one of those students. Sean, from the moment he walked into the room, you knew he wanted to work for NASA. You knew he was going to achieve that goal. Over the course of the years, Sean and I had a little bit of overlap here with stuff. You see, we both started our careers here at Fleetwood 21 years ago. 21 years ago, he was a freshman here at Fleetwood High School, and 21 years ago, I walked into Tom Proctor's room as the bright-eyed student teacher. Right away, I noticed that Sean was going to be that genius sitting in the corner of the class. He was that silent killer. He just sat there, but you knew when he opened up his mouth, you knew it was going to be the correct answer. I had the pleasure of having him in class the following year when I started my first official year here at Fleetwood. He was sitting in my astronomy elective class. It was a class of him, a sophomore, and the rest of the class was all seniors who just were there because they couldn't have the second study hall during the day. Yeah. The students sitting behind me, they know what I'm talking about here. Sean taught me two things here as a teacher. One of them was at that moment. I looked around the room, I saw Sean and I saw the rest of the class, and I thought to myself, so this is what they meant by in college about differentiation. I knew I had this kid as a sophomore who was going to run circles around the seniors, but at the same time I had to make sure I got the seniors through the class. So it was one of those situations where I had to just kind of pull Sean aside and say to him, hey, this is the assignment, but if you want to go above and beyond, how about you try doing this? And he did it every time. And it was just kind of, it was fun to see that interaction between him and the other students in the class along the way. I also got to know Sean really great as a member of the Science Olympiad team. I've been coaching Science Olympiad here at Fleetwood High School now for the last 19 years. That's where I really got to know Sean. As a freshman and a sophomore, I was able to teach him a few things about astronomy. As a junior, we kind of taught each other. As a senior, he was teaching me lessons in astronomy. And it kind of shows now with what his profession is. Over the course of 3 years, he accumulated 29 medals at the regional and state level for Science Olympiad. For those of you guys who don't know, Science Olympiad is an academic competition of 23 different science events, 15 kids per team. Usually as coach, you try to spread it out a little bit, have each kid do 2-3 events. Sean was that kid who was doing 5-6 events every single year, 6 being the maximum because that's how many time slots there were. So in order to achieve 29 medals, he had to medal in almost every single event he did for 3 straight years at 6 straight competitions. That's what Sean did. It is a tremendous honor to have him be put up on the wall back there outside in the lobby representing Fleetwood Area High School. He ended up graduating from Fleetwood as valedictorian in 2006. His father told me he knew Sean was going to be great with numbers and space because before kindergarten he was doing cube roots and square roots in his head. Most of my kids in class can't do them on a calculator right now. So that just kind of to put that into perspective. Sean ended up going to Arizona State University, and I asked him, why Arizona State? Because I knew what he wanted to go for, and he said, honestly, Mr. Dreisbach, I'm not an idiot. They offered me a full ride. Why would I turn that down? It was ironic, though, he got accepted, he flew out, and he told me what his summer plans were, so he had to go out for his freshman orientation to Arizona, only to immediately after settling in, fly back to the East Coast, because he was accepted for an internship at the Maria Mitchell Observatory over in Nantucket. This isn't the first time that he had an internship somewhere. While still in high school, he had an internship with NASA. And along the way, he had multiple different internships, kind of already establishing and getting his foot in the door already at the age of 16 and 17, which to me, it's amazing. As an Earth and Space Science teacher, I don't think there's any more of a pleasure as a teacher that you can have as teaching something and having a kid going on and doing that for their career. It's a special honor. Sean ended up doing other internships at the Keck Observatory, which is over in Hawaii, which is the second largest ground-based optical telescope on Earth. He also is currently stationed down in Arecibo, as I said earlier, which is the location of the second largest radio telescope on Earth, the biggest one being the FAST over in China, which was completed a few years ago. After graduation from Arizona State, not many kids can say they actually had a bidding war for them to go to graduate school. Sean was sought out by the likes of UCLA, Penn State, Maryland, all the way to Caltech, Central Florida, Cornell, and multiple other universities. In the end, he decided to center on Cornell for his graduate work. In his current location, working down in Arecibo, it's taken him on trips to Switzerland, Vienna, Finland, Uruguay, and Japan multiple times in order to do research for astronomy. And that's just what got him to the point where he's at now. Sean has worked for ASU's Mars Space Flight Facility. He worked with data from the Thermal Emission Imaging System instrument on NASA's 2001 Mars Odyssey orbiter. He has a bachelor's degree in physics and in Earth and Space Exploration from Arizona State University. He's a former researcher in asteroid shape modeling group for NASA's Frontier Development Lab. He was part of the NASA Earth and Space Science Fellowship. He was a recipient of the Eleanor York Prize for service to the community and academic achievement at Cornell University. He has his PhD in astronomy and his Master's of Science in Astronomy from Cornell University. Throughout all of his work with asteroids, we can honestly say we officially have our first Fleetwood graduate who has an asteroid named after him up in space, named 32151 Sean Marshall. He is a science team member for the Japanese Aerospace Exploration Agency's upcoming Destiny Plus mission to potential hazardous asteroid 3200 Pantheon. You can see a pattern here. He's doing a lot of work with space geology, dealing with asteroids headed towards Earth. His current job is scientist in the Solar System Radar Group at Arecibo Observatory, specializing in radar observations of near-Earth asteroids and determining asteroid shapes and rotation states from radar and other observational data. That's what Sean's doing. He's living out his dream. It started here at Fleetwood, and it just goes to show you that any kid, if they have a dream and they work towards it, can fulfill it. It is an honor for me to nominate and to bring into the Distinguished Alumni Group, Sean Marshall.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Dresbach. Our third recipient this evening is receiving the award in the area of Outstanding Contribution to Country and Community, Mr. David Schlegel, from the class of 1964. Mr. Schlegel served in the U.S. Air Force for 4 years. From 1964 to 1968, served in the Vietnam War. Was employed by the National Cash Register Company as a computer technician for 35 years, retiring in 2003. Past or current volunteer for the following: Fleetwood Fish and Game Commission Association, Berks County Federation of the Sportsman's Club, life member of the Veterans of Foreign Wars of the VFW, a lifetime member of the American Legion, and a past member of the Berks County Association for Graveyard Preservation. He was instrumental in establishing a fundamental trap shooting course for the Fleetwood Fish and Game Association, and also a lifetime member of the American Legion, served as an adjutant for 21 years, You're currently membership chairman and editor of the quarterly newsletter, The Kiefer Chronicle. Congratulations and thank you, Mr. Schlegel.
Well, once again, if we can have a round of applause for all of our recipients. Congratulations to all of you. Now I'm going to turn here and say, that's big shoes to fill, all right? I would love to see some of you, or somebody from here, in a few years back up here to be recognized, all right? So. If you're interested in who are members of our Distinguished Alumni, straight across the hall, out in the lobby, you can see the wall with all the pictures and plaques with all the accolades for each of the individuals. Once again, I'd like to thank you for coming out tonight. Thank you for giving us this little bit of time to recognize these important individuals. Please hold tight. We're going to take a very brief intermission to reset, and then we have more music for you. So thank you. Thank you all.